Hey there, Variety here. Welcome to today's video in which we're going to have a sneak peek at the upcoming content that's going to be available on Tarisland Season 1. So today's video is going to be focused not on what's changed, but rather what new content is going to be available. So for example, what new PvE modes, what new challenging content, stuff like that. Okay, so Tarisland Season 1 is going to be launching on the 22nd of October, and it will be officially launching on Steam in October as well. If you go to the official website, you can sign up for the pre-register, which you can get a mount, a pet, some silver, and a couple other little things. So if you're intending to play, go to the website and pre-register. And you can also see on the website, you'll see extra information such as the story, dungeons, and the raids. So I know that most of you are probably pretty interested in the PvE if you're here watching this video, because that is the thing that Tarisland offers. So let's have a look at the dungeons. So if you didn't look at the website, there are 4 new dungeons that are going to be available in Tarisland Season 1. So I have uploaded all 4 videos from China. If you don't mind being spoiled, you can go and check those out. So if we go into the dungeon interface here, the 4 dungeons that will be available will be Scarlet Frostwood, this will be day 1, Ice Tome Fortress, this will be day 2, Bloody Nightmare, apologies, this will be day 3, and Incendiary Lava, this will be your final dungeon available in Tarisland Season 1 on day 4. So the day after you do this dungeon, they'll unlock the raids. So let's talk about the raids. So Season 1 will offer 4 new raids. Well, with the first raid offering 5 bosses and the second raid offering 1 boss. So the first 2 raids will be 6 bosses combined. Furthermore, there will be 2 more raids coming a little bit later in the season, so we're not quite sure how many bosses there will be in total. I've heard mention, I believe of 10 total, so I believe there's 4 more still on the way. We've witnessed one of the raid boss fights before. I'll put a link below the video if you want to take a glance at it. But the raid gameplay seemed a lot better than Season 0. It seemed like the mechanics they use in the new raid boss is different from the ones that they use in Season 0, which is really exciting. Okay, so we've talked about dungeons and raids. Let's have a look at one of the new pieces of PvE that will be available on Season 1. So one of the new PvE modes that is going to be available on Tarisland Season 1 is going to be the Temple Maze. So the Temple Maze is a roguelike PvE instance in which you can take 1 or 3 people. It's not 2, it's 1 or 3, to be clear. So basically, when you're going to go into a floor, you get to pick a buff. And as you go through more floors, you get more buffs such as more lightning, debuffing enemies, strengthening yourself. And as you fight through the floors, you get access to bosses, way more powerful enemies. And then once you've completed the normal mode, a hard mode will open up in which you will get negative debuffs every couple of floors. So it makes the content more and more difficult. So you're going to try to run through this as quickly as you can to get as many points as possible, with different mobs, different buffs, and different debuffs constantly hitting you. So this is a pretty fun gameplay loop. I done this as a 3-man, and honestly, I really enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to doing the hard mode a little bit later. So the next game mode I want to talk about is called Twisted Dreamland. Unfortunately, I don't have the interface right now, so I can't show it. I apologize. But what Twisted Dreamland is if you played Season 0, you would know what Arcane Realms are. If you've played World of Warcraft, you would know what Mythic Pluses are. That's what Arcane Realms are. Twisted Dreamlands is a 5-man Arcane Realm with customizable affixes. So you get to choose what affixes go on there, and depending on which ones you pick, you know, the content will be worth more points, right? It'll be more difficult. So you choose your own customizable affixes, run it as fast as you can with your 5-man, and try to earn points by taking as many affixes as you can and be able to speedrun as fast as you can. So this will be pretty interesting, and it'll open up a lot of doors for some classes that could be a little bit quirky, but more effective in this type of gameplay. another new game mode that will be available is called Fair Raid. So many of you have probably raided in games before, and you feel that it is either a little bit unfair or a little bit difficult to compete against higher end raid groups that play more often and have more stats and stuff like that. And it's a fair argument, right? If you don't have the same gear, how can you compete? So the fair raids will be for you. So fair raids, it chooses from 9 classes and 18 specializations, so the current classes, for a balanced raid challenge. So the way I understand this is that every class will have the exact same, stats when you pick it. So when you go into the raid, people won't be able to take gear advantages in with you because everybody else that goes in there has the same stats as you would. This means that if you have a higher skill level and your gear just isn't as good, you can still rank because you're just skilled without needing all the extra stuff like the rare emblems or the T4 empowers, stuff like that. That just gives you the edge in Tarisland. The next thing is called the Raid Floor Race. So if you played Season 0 towards the end, you'll know that we had a raid feature in which you sped run raids and you sped run Arcane Realms. I believe it was up to floor 60. It was pretty interesting. It was definitely interesting, and yeah, it was definitely interesting. Let's put it that way. But the Raid Floor Race is a permanent feature with weekly updates. So the Arcane Realm Floor Race is also available. So what this means is that there's going to be raids that get a fix assigned to them, and they're going to update weekly with new fixes. So you can keep doing, the same content with different affixes and different modes to give you something more to do throughout the week if you're feeling like raiding, Up next is going to be a new PvP mode. I'm not sure if I can see this yet. Let me see if I can. So Conquer mode. No, it doesn't appear that I can. So it says that there's a new team battle mode. Unfortunately, I can't see that yet, so I'm unable to show that to you. But that should be exciting when it comes out for those that like to do PvP. For those that are into guild content, here's an interesting little thing. So if you open up your guild interface, here's a little quality of life, but it's so nice that I just had to show you. So if you go into manage and you click on somebody's name, you can actually see if they've completed a raid or not. So now officers and raid leaders can easily track their active guild members who are actively clearing content more than just them logging on. The other exciting thing for guilds is that there's going to be guild boss battles. So I don't know a lot about it. From what I know is apparently there's going to be bosses that will fight your guild, and you need to do as much damage as possible and you will get epic rewards from doing so. I don't have a lot of information on that. I just know that it's coming, and I hope that it can be really good. I've seen some games do it okay, and I've seen some games do it really great. So I'm looking forward to doing something with my guild, because I'm sure those of you who played Season 0 may have noticed that there wasn't really a lot keeping a guild together, right? Because the biggest raid was a 10-man. So you couldn't take more than 10 men with the raid, so you kind of left other people out. It was a bit of a bummer, but now that you have guild raids, you'll have something that you can do with your guildies, which is great. Speaking of guild events, they're also going to do another dragon raid bounty for Season 1, in which you take you and your guildmates and go and do raids to get points to rank your guild up to get epic rewards. We'll get a little bit more information about that later, but there's going to be, the way I understand it, is that there's going to be a lot more events. So there's going to be a Halloween event, there's going to be another food event, and I believe there's 2 or 3 other events that they've listed, and they're also mixing up the PvE in various ways to give you smaller chunks of PvE to do throughout the week, rather than, overloading you and then, leaving you with nothing to do later on in the season, which unfortunately happened in Season 0. So overall, I've been playing China for about 5 days now, and the dungeons are pretty cool. I wish the difficulty was a little bit higher, but I say that as, the main tank of the #1 ranked team in Asia, right? So, my experience there may be a little bit high, my expectations, but that's okay. the content is still really interesting, and Raid finally arrived tomorrow, which I'm super hyped about, and I will definitely be posting about soon. I really do hope that you guys, come back and have a look at Season 1. I do believe that Season 1 will be much more feature complete and just better connected in the way that they're developing the game, because Season 0, you couldn't really play ults. It was a big problem. It was too much time investment. So you either had to invest too much time, or if you played a single account, there wasn't a lot going on. But now that there's way more features to fill in the gaps, and they've taken away a lot of things that made having ults punishable. So now, for example, when you have membership on one of your characters, it'll give membership to all of your characters, right? That saves you a lot of gold. And there's many other things that they're doing like that as well, like shared skins, a mailbox, and other things like that, that are making ults much easier to use in Season 1, so you can really mix it up if you wish to play. Okay, that's it for today's video. Hopefully I will see you in Season 1 Tarisland soon.